There's $250,000 to first, $1 million prize pool in the main DraftKings pre-draft best ball tournament. Today, we're going to try to win that. The NFL draft is coming. We are all excited for our favorite rookie landing spots, which veterans are going to get dunked on by some rookie. Where is Jeremiah Love going? But first, we got to try to take down this $250,000 top prize. Last draft stream, probably, of the pre-draft cycle before it becomes a hot best ball summer. Let's have some fun, try to win some money. Let's do it. Good afternoon. Let's fucking go. I agree with you, Rick. New formed tout, got a new YouTube image to make sure he's keeping up with the touts, right? Keeping up with the Joneses. Gotta have. I haven't changed my. Although I will say, other than gaining a couple of pounds, I think I look similar to the same. I've been using the same avatar on every social media and Discord, and is Discord social media? Whatever, on the internet for like a decade now. I'm getting old, but I still get carded every time I buy booze or something. So I feel like it still fits. Until they stop carding me to buy booze, I think that's when I will change my avatar. But Rick changing his avatar because he thinks he can tout. Rodney says lab after. You know it. If you are new to the channel, welcome. If you are a longtime member of the channel, if you're in the Discord, specifically the premium part of the Discord, right? Anybody can get into the Spike Week Discord for just $5 a month. Or if you want everything, right? You want the tools, you want the rankings, you want the content. You also get access to the Discord for free if you're a premium subscriber. There's a link to that in the description. Every Wednesday, why am I saying that? Every single Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, immediately following this stream, we do what we call the lab. If you get into the premium parts of the Discord, you'll see there's a lab channel, and it's just like a bunch of best ball bros hanging out in somebody's basement, as nerdy as you might imagine that it is, or at the bar if that makes you feel more comfortable, and chopping it up about best ball. It's a little bit, it's very informal. You don't have to go on video. You don't have to talk if you don't want to talk. If you just want to listen. Dogs are talking for you right now. We do that on Wednesdays. It's a ton of fun. So that'll be immediately following this. Shout out to my wife just left, and the dogs are about to start howling at something. It's nice weather here, so everybody's out, and my dogs think that someone's gonna come attack the house. So I apologize if you hear dog howling. Shout out to Rick, least toxic, most positive, most productive Discord out there. Don't come with soft skin though, because constructive criticism is given often. I do think, and says you'll be better at best ball. You won't waste your time scrolling through a bunch of nonsense. Spike Week is not the world's biggest fantasy football or fantasy sports platform out there, nor will it ever be. Nor do I'm not even sure if I want that. I feel like we've sort of, over many years and many iterations and learning through a lot of mistakes, built a community that I'm really proud of. Is it perfect? Nothing ever is. Welcome to the internet. But I'm super excited. If you want to come join and talk and actually talk and get better at best ball specifically, but it applies to all forms of fantasy sports or sports betting or DFS. Those conversations are happening too in the Discord. If you want to get better, I really do think you will get better. You have to be able, if you want to talk, you have to be able to, have conversation and debate things and don't get upset if people are like. So just as an example, we talked about there was a conversation earlier today about the Saints and Tyler Shuck and Chris Olave, and some people like him and some people don't, and we'll have spirited and passionate debates, but it's like amongst friends, right? Like I have the most spirited arguments in the world with my friends, and afterwards we laugh, and we have a beer and we chop it up. It's never personal, but there's not a bunch of bullshit. We're talking 24/7, 365, talking best ball in this Discord. It's the very first thing that ever started with Spike Week. So as a precursor to the draft coming and all that kind of stuff, I would join that. Yeah, World Cup best ball. I don't know shit about World Cup, about the World. I mean, I'm gonna watch like just like any other crazy sports fan, but I don't know it. I'm not a soccer expert. There's a ton of brilliant soccer minds in their drafting teams, sharing their teams, talking strategy. I'm gonna miss people, but so I won't even say the name. But there's a bunch of guys grinding the World Cup stuff. If you're interested in that on Underdog, check out the soccer channel, which I think actually is not even behind the paywall, so you can join that for free. Let's enough bullshitting. Let's hop on into this DraftKings $10. I think what I really want to do is a lot of the times you will hear me, mostly because I think it's appropriate, is I'm a big proponent of portfolio drafting and taking some extreme strategies. I've become more open to drafting players I don't like and structures that make me feel uncomfortable and those kinds of things. Today, the draft is tomorrow. This contest closes tomorrow. I'm does it close tomorrow, by the way? I probably should. I assume it closes before the draft starts. Is that correct? It seems like something a best ball sicko should know, but I actually don't know the answer to that question. Nonetheless, wow, that filled quickly. Shout out to you guys. The draft is tomorrow, and once the draft starts, I'm going to be focused on. Thank you, Rick. Focused on grinding out everything about the change, rankings changes, and my own personal strategy changes, and all that kind of stuff. So, tomorrow we sort of turn over a new leaf, right? It's like Thursday Night Football of Week 1, except it's not even fucking close to Thursday Night Football of Week 1. We have multiple seasons now of this insane fantasy football game that we're playing. So instead of, which I'm going to do countless times from now until the start of the season, instead of talking about some different strategies or, oh no, I'm not logged into the Draft Hacker. Pardon. Instead of talking about strategies and whatever, right? We're going to rip our favorite players. But some of that is a little bit strategic. I have an article coming out in the morning that's almost done. That is, I can even put it up on my screen. Situations I'm ready to pounce on after the NFL draft. And that's sort of how, if you're drafting in the next 24 hours, and even if you're not, right, you're going to watch the draft or at least look at what happens in the NFL draft. I think from now until then, sort of where my brain is going is what are some things that could happen in the NFL draft, good, bad, indifferent, whatever, that come Monday when these contests open, right? We're a few days away from it's fucking best ball season. I can't believe that, by the way. We're really a few days away from yet another best ball summer. That's crazy. But anyway, I think having a plan is one of the things, and not like a hard and fast plan, right? About like, what structure am I drafting and like, who's my favorite first round pick and all that kind of stuff. But some things that I want to, well, this works because Puka's out of rehab. So I feel comfortable taking him at the 104. We're good there. A little worried if he's going to, a little worried about how 420 went for Puka. Getting out of rehab on or right before 420 feels a little bit sketchy to me, but no news is good news, I think. So I feel comfortable taking Puka, but I want to have some things heading into, right, like every time these contests launch, all of the sickos, right? If you're watching this, you're a sicko. If you're in the Spike Week Discord, you're a sicko. If you follow, if you're watching fantasy football content in February and March and April, you care about this stuff. If you're entering best ball tournaments in late April, you obviously are doing it with some plan of attack of there's probably some guy. I'm excited to draft, of course. It's fun. But I have something I want to accomplish, right? There's probably like a rookie, right? Every year, specifically on Underdog, on all sites. I don't want to single out Underdog. You get like whatever, some rookie went in the second round, and I have absolutely no understanding of how they set their like immediate ADP, right? It's obviously not ADP because there have been no drafts, but they have to preload something so that it's ordered in some form of way, and it gives people something to work off of. But it's obviously awful. Really, no matter what they can do, like Hayden and Josh and whoever are working on, I don't know if those guys still work on this stuff, but whoever is doing it is not unintelligent. Of course, it's not like ridiculous, but it's not what closing, and it's certainly automated to some extent, and it's not what closing ADP is going to be. And DraftKings is maybe even more like extreme in this way. We'll see about drafters, but there's going to be guys where all of us are like shark. There's fucking chum in the water, and we're sharks, and we're jumping in to feast right on that guy doesn't have an ADP. But if we're all doing that, right? If everybody says, "Oh my God, it opened," right? They drop the rankings before they drop the actual tournaments, and so we can see the ADP. And you're like, "So and so doesn't have an ADP." It's like, well, Rick saw that, and the people in the chat, right? Versaire saw that, and South saw that, and Bernie saw that, and we all saw the same shit. So we're playing a game of fucking chicken, but we're not like. I'm not sure that used to be an edge. For sure, that used to be an edge. I'm on the clock after taking Puka, and the question is, Hampton isn't like my favorite pick of all time. He is, however. Yeah, let's do Hampton. He is, however, on my favorite offense of the year. So a little bit of conflicting ideologies. I should have probably gotten a little bit more Hampton, but I didn't draft a million pre-draft teams. But we're all jumping in to like when Monday comes around, it's like Christmas, and we get excited to hop in and see what guy is this guy doesn't have an ADP, and he was a second round pick in the draft or whatever. But I think there's some other stuff. Like my favorite example, I'll just give it away because it's in the article that's coming out tomorrow. The players, specifically the running backs on offenses, where everyone has said at some point, including myself, is, well, Jeremiah Love might go there. But Jeremiah Love can only land on one team. He doesn't get to be all-time pitcher, right? He can't be on the Titans and the Commanders at the same time. And so he's going to land, 100%. I just said I wasn't going to do this, and I was just going to take my favorite players. And Nico, I'm already doing it like, but I have Nico on 100% of my Puka teams, so I'm taking Olave. I already bitched out of my whole plan of attack here. But Jeremiah Love, like I said, can only land on one team, but we're sort of holding back the Giants running backs, the Commanders running backs, the Titans running backs, to a lesser degree. Now we're getting Cardinals smoke, and people are scared about him landing on the Cardinals. Who knows who else could possibly land Jeremiah Love. There could be a total wild card that loves him that we, no pun intended, that loves him that we didn't see coming. And so whoever he doesn't land on has the ADP that we've been dealing with for the last couple of months is based upon that notion that Jeremiah Love could land there. So when they preload the new ADP in, if they didn't adjust, which look, they're operator sites. They're not tout sites. They don't create rankings. I don't imagine they would adjust a ton. So going in, it's okay. The Titans didn't draft Jeremiah Love, and the Titans didn't draft running back in the first 3 rounds or whatever. Tony Pollard, Tyjae Spears. That sounds good. Right. The Commanders don't draft him. Bill and Rashad White, and maybe they do draft someone else, but now maybe that guy is actually one of the best picks on the board. Like assessing the spots where all spring, not just like certainly the best ball sickos, but mock drafters in the NFL world and everybody in fantasy football have been speculating about rookies landing in certain spots. And then inevitably, most of it is not going to happen. Certainly with Jeremiah Love, because we're speculating him to like 5 teams and he can only play for 1. But other stuff is like the Rams are supposedly all in on these wide receivers, right? Every time I see a new mock, it used to be Mekhi Lemon to the Rams. Now we're seeing them trade up for Jordan Tyson and some mocks, and maybe they will. It's absolutely possible that they do. But what if they don't? What if they don't? Shit happens like that in the NFL draft all the time. And so be like honing in on the spots that either went according to plan or didn't go according to plan and sort of trying to pounce on those is kind of what I'm thinking through, frankly, for the next few days, and including in any drafts I do from now until the time these contests lock. Is like I'm down to take swings on the Titans backfields, on the Giants backfields, and look, if they draft Jeremiah Love, so be it. It is what it is. But what if they don't? You just got screaming values on these guys, and we're going to look back in August or something and think about who were the best picks of the big board. And it's generally the ones like that where we speculated on additions in the draft or additions in free agency happening, and they don't, and it doesn't happen. How do you love the Bolts but not love Hampton? Well, they have 3 running backs that I like, and Amari and Hampton goes in the 2nd round. So I like Hampton fine. I have him. It's one of those difficult conversations to have where you have a guy close to his ADP, but like I have Bowers ranked ahead of him. So it seems, I have Lamar highest, but I think I have Burden 2nd highest. Oh no, I have JMO 2nd highest. Let's do Burden. Speaking of taking stands, drafting the players that we love the most, Luther Burden. Come on. The pride of East St. Louis, Illinois. But that's really it for Hampton. Is I'm going to draft my requisite amount of Mari and Hampton, but I think Kamani Vidal is like a good player, and Keaton Mitchell is a good player, and Mike McDaniel is probably going to love everybody. Everybody love everybody, right? And so he's not going to be like a big stand for me, even though I absolutely adore the Chargers offense in 2026. Got a grammar Nazi. So some feedback to the grammar Nazi. My name is spelled Erik. It's actually on your screen. It's also in the description of the video and on every one of my social media profiles. And if you Google me, even if you spell it Eric, it's going to tell you, did you mean Erik? So I'm totally joking. Don't take that serious. I respect the grammar. I respect the grammar police, and I actually appreciate you saying that. But I'm not going to have someone make a joke about me like miss saying something when they miss said something and not call like it's just in my nature, Stands. Speaking of stands, Terry McLaurin for me is definitely one of them. So through 5, we went Puka, Amari, and Hampton, Chris Ollie. This is a fun team. Puka, got to get the cliches out of the way. Got to get locked in before the draft gets here and not repeating the fun. This is a fun. Is it a fun team? No shit. You drafted it. Of course it's fun. Puka, Hampton, Olave, Burden, Terry, McLaurin. This is it's homing in on just some helpful feedback from your leader. You hone something like your skills. You home in on something like your target. Is that true? Home in on is the correct. Now that's let's use. I know some hone in seems to be. Oh Jesus, this is too much. Goddamn people on the internet. I'm not interested in the Google AI. Can someone on Reddit not leave a fucking novel? Home in on is the correct and preferred phrase for moving towards a target or focusing on something. While hone in on is frequently used, many grammarians and style guides consider it an error, as hone means to sharpen. Use home in on for accuracy in formal writing. Okay, that's good to know. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. There's no chance that I will get it right moving forward. I will screw it up. But I enjoy. I appreciate learning those kinds of things. Like I'm not as much of a grammar Nazi because I make tons and tons of grammar mistakes. But I mean I try not to, but I certainly will. Pronunciation is one of those that like gets a little bit weird with me. So I totally understand where you're coming from. But spelling is the bigger one for me. So it's really actually kind of funny that grammar is the big one for you and spelling is the big one for me. And I made the grammar mistake that triggered you into leaving a comment. And in your comment, you made a spelling mistake, which triggered me immediately. I love it. We're so back. We're so ready for best ball season. But thank you. I think I may have heard that before, and it hasn't settled, but it's good to know. My home is in a draft. Having a hard time with ETN, Love, Hampton, and Chase Brown. Please set me straight. I don't like ETN, but the other 3, I think are good picks. Those are. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, let's do. Do the people behind me have a quarterback? Allen, they all have quarterbacks. Okay. Now we're cooking. Do I want Lemon or Marv? You know what? Let's do Marvin Harrison. I actually straight up think he's a very good pick in the 6th round. Now, set me straight on not liking these running backs. I'm not going to add. Of course, the guy in the 102 took Jaden Daniels. The whole point was that he took Lamar, and so I thought I was safe, maybe safe from him taking Daniels. But the QB thirst, particularly on DraftKings, unavoidable. Chase Brown, I don't like. I'm not pounding the table for Travis Etienne, Jeremiah Love, Amari and Hampton, or Chase Brown. That's not me. But I may full fade Etienne. We'll see. I have no interest in fading the other 3. They're just going to score a shitload of fantasy points on. Jeremiah Love is a superstar, and the other 2 remains to be seen exactly how good Amari and Hampton is. But Chase Brown just scores a bunch of fantasy points on the Bengals. So I'm not going to go crazy. Here's one. I should take a quarterback here. I'm just getting this out of the way now. Chuba is a guy. I'm monitoring very closely the Carolina Panthers backfield, but specifically as it relates to Chuba Hubbard. I like Jonathan Brooks too in this sort of light. But a couple of years ago, Chuba was like a 15th round pick, and he was a big stand of mine. And that was a little bit of a contrarian stand. And obviously that hit in a big way. He had a monster season a couple years ago. The Jonathan Brooks rookie year. Was that a little lucky? Sure, maybe. But I think Chuba Hubbard is like and then they paid him a bunch of money. Then of course he skyrockets up in price last year and fails. He got hurt and he's splitting the backfield with Rico Dowdle. But now Rico Dowdle has gone to Pittsburgh. Jonathan Brooks is enticing and fun to speculate on. And I'm going to draft plenty of Jonathan Brooks. But the Carolina Panthers have a solid offense. It doesn't feel like they do, but they have a pretty solid offense. They just about beat the Rams obviously they made the playoffs, just about beat the Rams in the playoffs. Chuba has had a monster fantasy season. You know, say whatever you want about the word monster before someone says like, how he wasn't the RB1. Was it really no, he was really good for fantasy a couple of years ago. And now there's no Rico Dowdle. Jonathan Brooks could take some of this backfield, and Chuba Hubbard in the 7th round is a phenomenal pick, like in hero running back builds and zero running back builds. He has the potential to help you win in a variety of different ways. Like maybe he's just the lead back on a good offense all season. I don't know. It's possible. Maybe he's the what we call a chaperone, right? The guy who let him handhold. Maybe Hampton's splitting the backfield with Vidal and Keaton, but eventually Hampton becomes a smash down the stretch. Maybe so I find the next Devon Achane later, but Achane needed to be handheld across to the fantasy playoffs. You need some of these types of guys on almost any team, unless you start with a whole shitload of early running backs. And that's like the floor for Chuba. The ceiling is just like lead back on good NFL offense in shit division. Like, I'm not saying he's a great receiver, but he catches passes. He did it a couple years ago. He's going to get goal line carries. He's been an efficient rusher in the NFL. He was once upon a time a highly rated prospect at Oklahoma State. He came back, won too many seasons, and that killed his draft stock. But like, I think this is at least a decently talented guy on a decently functional offense that, like, we're drafting Quinshon Judkins in the 5th round, right? We're drafting DeAndre Swift in the 5th round. Just give me Chuba. So he's another one that I'll be on the lookout for. Tyler Algier, there's one I'm on the fucking lookout for. Okay, I need to make sure I don't get locked out of quarterback here. Hold on. He says this and then wants to double check. Okay, they still just the one other quarterback. We'll take Purdy. I mean, it's probably a crime that I haven't taken Purdy yet. That's probably bad. I don't know if I'll stack him. We'll see. Kittle and Kirk, I guess. Is Kittle went 72nd overall. 72nd? Kittle better be Jason fucking Tatum. Good Lord. He tore his Achilles, man. 72nd. I think I've had him ranked like 180 or something. Which certainly it's possible that that's a little bit over the top, but I'm not drafting Kittle inside the top 100 fresh off of an Achilles tear. That's crazy. Sweet Leaf says Pickens' situation is going to get very interesting. Where did he go in this draft? If you hadn't seen, no extension for George Pickens. God, this guy in the 102 is really not letting me have anything fun here. Takes Pearsall when I took Purdy. That was the whole plan. maybe I should have taken. Sure, you should have taken Pearsall first, but do I push it to my next pick? Let's take Goff. Instead of getting, this is something I've talked a lot about, and I do think this is going to translate to the summer too, especially on DraftKings. Also, like really on all sides, but DraftKings can get a little bit funky. Drafters, people fall in line a little bit more. I don't want to get locked out of quarterback, especially again on DraftKings where we all agree that the ADP is not that great. It's not the most efficient. You're going to be able, no matter what you do, you're going to be able to build a team that you probably like with picks. You're like, I can't believe I got that guy pick 117. I can't believe I got that guy pick. So what will happen, the only way you can get done with a draft on DraftKings and feel bad about the team is screwing up quarterback. And I don't mean you only took 2 and everybody else is taking 3, or you took 3 and you prefer 2 or whatever. But I mean, getting like, if you're done at Purdy Goff, it's okay. If you want to add a third, great. If you don't, great. Making sure that you have 2 competent quarterbacks, which is in the eye of the beholder. If you think that stops at Aaron Rodgers or Malik Willis or Bryce Young or whatever, all of those are fine. I'm more of give me multiple in this QB window type guy. And I also like Lamar and whatever, but from Lamar down to this whatever Malik Willis-ish range, like give me 2 guys in that range and I'm going to feel really good. And so if I had to pick one thing, like what would be one piece of advice for drafting this summer, it's don't miss the forest for the trees. We're here to draft good teams. We're not here to extract as much ADP value at every single pick as we can, or stack up all these picks that make us feel really cool about a screenshot until your QB1 is Malik Willis and your QB2 is Tua. Like, congrats. You drafted a bunch of cool guys and it felt really fun along the way, but this team sucks now. And the easiest way, I think, in this current environment to screw up the team is messing up quarterback. And so I'll figure everything else out. I'm not going to screw up quarterback is my sort of plan. Charles says, I hope one of the flagship contests reaches $3 million first place again. I think DraftKings could do it. Underdog laid off all their draft employees, so it seems unlikely to me that they expand the prize pool. But who am I to say? Here, let's do. I'm far too underweight Josh Downs. Shout out to my guy Hacker, the CTO of Spike Week's been he's not leading the drumbeat on Josh Downs, but he's been sharing, there's some good Josh Downs kind of hype going on here. And I think Josh Downs is one of those cheesy, better on DraftKings type plays, right? Just a slot receiver, probably never going to score 1 million touchdowns. It frankly just cannot, and they won't play him on the outside. It's just not his skill set, and that's okay. But can that be helpful on DraftKings? I think so. He's a good football player. And when it's full PPR, a good football player at wide receiver is still valuable. Felt fun along the way, in quotes, says Ben. That's how children are made, he says. We need the draft here, for sure. What's up with the Pitts trade rumors? I haven't heard the Pitts trade rumors. I don't. I mean, Atlanta's, if you're playing Madden right now and you if everybody did you had to do 3 randoms, right? I'm playing against Ben, and we had to do 3 randoms to decide who and pick one, which our team is, and you got Atlanta you thought was the best team amongst, I'd say look again at the other two, at the other two teams, because I mean Bijan rocks and Drake London rocks. Name something else on the Falcons that's fun. I'll be and see. Okay. Give an answer. Top 5 answers are on the board. What is fun about the Atlanta Falcons? Okay, Bijan goes 1, London goes 2. Who goes 3? Let's do Matthew Golden. So I have 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 7 wide receivers, and 3 tight ends. Part of why I hammered a couple more wide receivers right there is we're about to hit the area of tight end that I really, really like. I mean, we're still sort of in it, so I could have taken tight end there, but we're about to hit an area of tight end that I'm a big fan of, and I'm going to take 3 tight ends on this team, and I do have at least Amari Hampton and Chuba Hubbard gives me a decent start to the running back position. I can see if I want to close out wide receiver with one of Christian Kirk or Isaac Tesla, if I want. Best ball playoff juggernaut, Kyle Pitts, is definitely true. No pushback on that. Welcome to DK before lock. Sometimes you get Olave at 45. Sometimes you get shut out at QB before round 10. That is definitely true. That's great. Eric, tomato, no bathroom break needed. You just relieved yourself. Keep pissing. That's a lot of wide receivers. That's true. You know me. I do love the wide receivers. It's at 5 and 6 rounds, which is so funny because some people, how different everyone's sort of draft strategy is, or like not just their draft strategy. What makes you feel I think what makes you feel uncomfortable is what defines you as a drafter. Not what makes you feel comfortable. What makes you feel uncomfortable as a drafter is ultimately like what defines you. And what makes me feel uncomfortable is not having the wide receiver firepower. So I just like, it's sort of like, oh, well, you love the wide receivers. It's like that's true. But it's because I feel really uncomfortable if I'm like depending on like even like Josh Downs, Matthew Golden, when I'm depending on those guys, and then I'm depending on hitting big outcomes from wide receiver flyers. Like you can tell a story that's really, really easy. That's really simple. Do you make sure I don't say easy when I mean simple, because they're wildly different things. Basically any late running back is like, well, yeah, somebody got hurt. And it's not that the late wide receivers don't benefit from injuries. They do. Contingent value is a thing at wide receiver, but it's not as big of a thing as at running back. Is very simple. Guy in front of you gets hurt. You go from getting 3 touches and fantasy irrelevant to getting 18 touches, and any human being that's an NFL football player getting that many touches, that many snaps, whatever, is just gonna score fantasy points. Happens all the time. So it's so much more comfortable for me to lean on later running backs. Like I'm not saying I love them, or that I'll draft plenty of later running backs, that I do love that suck, but also shout out Will Shipley. But I'll draft some that I don't particularly love. I didn't particularly love Bucky Irving as a rookie prospect with the Bucks, but he's a great example of like, is this the type of guy you really want to be stubborn on? And so I ended up with like, I don't know, 12% Bucky or something as a rookie, even though I didn't really like him as a prospect. I was obviously very wrong about that. But that's like, oh, he's young and talented and nobody in front of him is very good. Poof. At wide receiver, a little trickier. zero throw power lefty or a lefty with no knees. Those are the two Falcons quarterback options. What could go wrong? Speaking of, oof. Is this 100% of my Olave teams have Juwan? God damn it. So I've done this before. Okay, let's do Andrews then. Sorry to the Lamar draw. Who took Lamar? Oh, the 102. Maybe I can at least get him back for the pain he caused me. He has Bauer, so he don't care. Return of the draft wheel this year. We'll see. Admittedly, as someone operating a business, those were not always the most popular drafts. I know some people like them, but we'll see. It's also still working on some things behind the scenes to figure out what the exact schedule is going to be, what types of things I need to draft on each individual day and all that kind of stuff. I forget who talked about it, but bad running backs can still produce. Bad wide receivers rarely see the field. I mean, I'm certainly not the first person to talk about it, but it's something that I talk about all the time. And like how we define a bad running backs relative to how can I even say this? So like Samaje Perine, he's just always the guy that comes to my mind when I think about bad running backs. But like he has a skill. He's not bad at everything. Right? Rashad White is what every fantasy bro would call horrible. Right? We all dunk on Rashad White. And frankly, as we should. Juwan is the top tight end. Yeah, I'm just going to take Juwan. I'm just going to sorry. Chris Olave teams are being anchored down by Juwan Johnson if something happens to him, but it is what it is. But right, Rashad White would be the epitome of a back that we all agree is not very good. But he's not very good as a runner. He's not explosive. He's not good with the football in his hands. But he has two skills that the NFL values: pass protection, catching the football out of the backfield. Right? That's Samaje Perine continues to get jobs in the NFL because he does those two things. It's disgusting. He's slow and old and not an efficient runner. But even those guys, it's like those are actually the guys that when something shakes out their way and they get the football, right? If Chase Brown gets hurt, if Bill gets hurt, or they draft Jeremiah Love and he gets hurt, Rashad White is going to be valuable in fantasy because he's going to get the rock, especially in PPR sites. He's going to catch passes. If they're good on offense, he's going to score touchdowns. Like this shit happens all the time. Do you remember? I say this example all the time in different references, but it's been so long now. I think it was 2022. The Rashad Penny year, Amon-Ra's rookie year, I think was 2020. Is that 2021? Maybe even maybe 2021. But anyway, Amon-Ra's rookie year. Rashad Penny is no longer playing football. He's been out of the league for multiple seasons, as a matter of fact. He was the RB1 in fantasy football in the playoffs. If you didn't have Rashad Penny in the best ball playoffs, good luck. Better luck next year. 1, 2, 3, Cancun, brother. Like you had to have Rashad White, or God damn it, now Rashad Penny, Rashad White. You had to have Rashad Penny. Fast forward 2 seasons, he's out of football because he's not that good. But we thought he was good. We were wrong, but he wasn't that good. But so that this guy who's just like a whatever, right? A guy who could be out of football 2 years later can be the running back you had to have in fantasy football because he's just getting the ball. You know? Totally. Unless the Commanders take a running back at the draft. That's specific. Oh, right. But Rachaad White could be the guy if they take Jeremiah Love and Jeremiah Love gets hurt. I'm not saying, look, and I'm not pounding the table for Rachaad White. It makes me sick to my stomach to click the button. But I am saying those are the like archetypes of players that are viewed as terrible. Not, I mean, they're definitely not sexy, but like viewed as terrible. Like, oh, you drafted Rachaad White. Why don't you draft Bill? It's like, I don't know. Because if shit goes crazy, I know which one of these guys is going to score fantasy points. Because he's going to do the stuff that scores fantasy points. Okay, I'm going to take Emmanuel Wilson. Speaking of another guy who, not sexy at all. But Zach Charbonnet didn't get his ACL surgery until 2 weeks after the Super Bowl. Ken Walker is gone. I don't worry about George Holani is whatever. And sure, okay, maybe they draft someone. They're not drafting Jeremiah Love. So, like, I'm going to get something out of Emmanuel Wilson. Maybe I get the whole season. This month. Okay, Mr. Midfieldry. Are you watching this? Because you just drafted Tesla, who I was specifically going to take the stack with Jared Goff, and Tyjae Spears, two of my guys. I talked about how I want to draft the Titans back there. Show yourself. Ridiculous. Let's see. Sure. Christian Kirk it is. Really wanted Tesla, got to settle for Christian Kirk. Unbelievable. Happy last draft before the NFL draft. Yeah, geez. Agree with that. Bad running back equals drafted by the Cardinals. Al, are you getting excited? Like I am. I'm very excited. I've learned about myself. I don't love the pre-draft stuff as much. I start to psych myself up for it. Like particularly last year, I didn't have the best ball season. Wasn't my best last year, which is really funny because I've been told by commenters and what have you that my problem is I'm too much of a zero running back bro, and right, I didn't draft Saquon, and I didn't draft early running backs enough, and I always fade Derrick Henry and whatever. Well, last year Jonathan Taylor was one of my truly highest owned running backs. I drafted a shitload of Jahmyr Gibbs. I drafted a bunch of good early round running backs last year. Worst fucking season I've had. Literally the worst best ball season I've had in 6 years. That was year 6. This is year 7. Since Underdog started, 6 years. Worst year I've had. And I had 20-something% of Jonathan Taylor. Riddle me fucking that, Batman. I was told that was the problem. It was not. It was not the problem. Are we fading Derrick Henry this year? You bet your ass we're fading Derrick Henry. Where did he go in this draft? 2-3 turn. I think that's okay, honestly. I'm pretty psyched for the Ravens. We'll see what happens in the draft. Here's what I'll guarantee you. Here's what I will guarantee you. I can't guarantee you I'll have 0 Derrick Henry. I can guarantee you I will have more Justice Hill than I have Derrick Henry. How about that one? I don't know if that's a hot take, but it is a real take. It is true. Panthers are a team on the rise with a big stink at quarterback, but the surrounding talents are better, and their secret weapon is Eric Eager. Yeah, agreed. Bring someone from our world into an NFL front office, and then all of a sudden they started getting better. It's funny how that works. I also think Bryce has become underrated. I'll just say that. No, I don't think Bryce is good. I think Bryce has become underrated. He basically outdueled Matthew Stafford in a playoff game. That's pretty crazy, dude. Let's see. I've taken some. That is not enough Jordan James. What in the hell is wrong with me? I've been drafting too much on stream. Why don't I have? I should have like 50% Jordan James. Bryce or Cam Ward is a great question. At this moment in time, if I want to win a football game today, it's Bryce. I'm willing to concede that I don't think Bryce is ever going to become like you can really win big things with him. And we haven't seen enough of Cam to say whether you can or not. But I think Bryce was a better prospect. And I think Bryce has been better in the NFL, despite the early bad start. Cam Ward wasn't any fucking good with his start either. Cam Ward has shown me nothing. So I'll take Bryce. Been stacking Bryce with Sadiq. Definitely got they have a glaring hole at tight end because Jatavian Sanders stinks. Okay, some wide receivers. I need some more running backs and a tight end. We'll take a later tight end. Oh, I should have said what ADP. Oh, it's still worse. If I take Vidal, am I really buying this backfield? Let's do it. Let's try it. Let's try the old handcuff strategy. I don't particularly like it as much with the second round pick, of course. But I'm going to experiment this year. I feel pretty passionately that we're going to get away from the word handcuffing and we're going to go to buying backfields. And of course, with Keaton Mitchell in, that makes things a little bit different. But I think Vidal would still step in as a key factor if something were to happen to Hampton. But I feel fairly strongly that buying backfields is good in best ball. Actually, not fairly strongly. I feel very fucking strongly that buying backfields in best ball specifically is very good. And so I like most who have sort of bought into the concept. I prefer it with like Chuba and Jonathan Brooks, or let's assume Jeremiah Love doesn't go to Arizona, right? But like Algier and Connor, Emmanuel Wilson and Sharbs, or Halani, or Jadarian Price, or whatever. Pollard and Spears, again, assuming Love is not there. Like I certainly prefer those because of the cost. But is there a scenario in which you still get low-owned Hampton into the finals or whatever, or into the playoffs? You know, he misses a month and Kamani Vidal crushes for a month and just carries you along, and you get a low-owned Hampton into the final. Like, yeah, there's just like a bunch of scenarios in which having multiple guys from the same backfield wins. And there's really not that many. There's always a losing scenario, but there's far more winning scenarios than there. Right? Injuries to multiple guys is how you really lose, or just like nobody's worth a shit. Of course, but that's true. Both of those things are true if you don't buy the backfield as well. Now you lose an extra roster spot by buying them both. But if Hampton sucks, like whatever, this team was going to suck anyway. You know, like this team kind of needs Amari and Hampton to be good. But if Amari and Hampton is good and like misses some time, I don't want to lose this team for the potential of the, potentially making the playoffs because I don't have a backfill. It's like, well, who's the easiest backfill? The fucking guy who's going to now get the touches that Amari Hampton was getting. Buying into a backfield is like buying into a wide receiver room at the right ADP. Chase and Higgins round 1 and 2, not the right ADP. Yeah, I think that is a totally reasonable way to view it. And how do we classify? Okay, hold on. All right, it's it's a goddamn. I have a shitload of Pat Freiermuth because I have 100%. Look at this. 100% of my Puka teams have Freiermuth, 100% of my Hampton teams, and 100% of my Olave teams have Freiermuth. So as much as I love him, we're going to pass on there. And I'm taking Terrence Ferguson. I think that if the Rams draft a wide receiver, this is going to make things difficult for the Rams tight end stuff. But the trickle-down effect of the Rams maybe not ending up with a wide receiver in round 1 is the tight end room, where I think, okay, now things are going to get murky if they take Tyson or Lemon or Tate, of course. But if they don't, I think I'm going to be right back in on Terrence Ferguson and to a lesser extent, Colby Parkinson. If you see the cumulative production of those tight ends, it's fucking bonkers. Okay, this is 19. I definitely need at least another running back. Benson is at the top of ADP. Let's do Justice Hill's on 100% of my Olave teams. God damn. Why? Whatever. We're taking Justice because we took Mark Andrews. One of my other big things that I'm going to do a little bit more of this year that I've done in the past, I've talked about in the past, I've referenced this Ben Gretsch-like concept for many, many years on many different shows, but if the identity back, but I want to expand upon it this year of like Tyreek Hill was like an identity wide receiver for the Dolphins. Like what happens if Tyreek Hill's not out there or like takes a step back? So Derrick Henry is the epitome of the identity back. Like what happens if Derrick Henry is not out there or becomes washed? I'm not saying I'm predicting either of those things, but just saying what we're trying to do is luck box scenarios happening. And so we should build teams based upon different scenarios. One of them is, guess what? Derrick Henry is not out there, or Derrick Henry is no longer Derrick Henry. Well, who benefits? Guys who catch a bunch of passes. And especially if you can use him at tight end and as a cheap running back instead of wide receiver. I mean, I love Zay like everybody, and I can hit on multiple roster spots. It's like, oh my God, there's no Derrick Henry. Justice Hill's catching 6 passes every game. Dude starts the week with 10 points from your 19th round running back if there's no Derrick Henry. And he could score double-digit points in a week with Derrick Henry if the game script goes his way. Now the question is, my wide receivers are pretty good. I think this should be another running back because this is a tough scene. Hampton, Chuba, Emmanuel Wilson, Jordan James, Kamani Vidal, Justice Hill. Let's do another running back. Darnell Washington will be tight end 1 on Pittsburgh. I like it. I don't agree, but I like it. Pete's final mock has Sadiq going to the Rams. Apparently McVay is in love. That would be something. Anytime you can sign Colby Parkinson to a contract, draft Terrence Ferguson in the 2nd round, and re-sign Tyler Higbee with Davis Allen also still on the roster, and then draft Sadiq when you're trying to win a Super Bowl, like literally immediately because Matthew Stafford's going to retire and you, Sean McVay, are probably going to retire. Anytime you can draft another tight end, got to do it. Got to fucking do it. Love McVay. Truly brilliant. One of the single most brilliant offensive football minds and just football minds in general. Not the best drafter. Not. I'd like to draft the best ball team against Sean McVay. Let's say that much. All right, let's go to the ranks. Ooh, LeQuint or two of my hot take. Polar Parachute says that any Galaxy Brain takes so far. I don't have any like super Galaxy Brain takes, but I will say there. If I had one, it is taking swings in these pre-draft contests, taking swings on like a Malik Davis, where I don't know. I guess people think Jaden Blue has a chance to be ahead. I'm not really sure. of what the consensus take is. But Malik Davis was genuinely good last year, and Javonte is just whatever. Javonte's going to lead the backfield, of course. But Malik Davis took the RB2 job, was better than anyone else they have on their roster as a backup to Javonte. They're not in a wonderful position to be splurging on running backs after having signed Javonte. My current bet, and those are the kind of things I'm going to do to your Galaxy Brain point like next week, is I'm going to be willing to speculate on some of these things. And I know that it makes some people uncomfortable. But this is how we get some of these late round running backs, specifically on teams that no one else is getting them on. Because once we get news, once camp comes around and it's like Brian Schottenheimer is telling everyone, yeah, Malik, Javonte's the running back 1, Malik Davis is the running back 2. We're really excited about him. We'll be like, oh, fuck. Cowboys backup running back. This should not be undrafted, right? So he's going to move up. So I want to get permutations of teams with whatever happens in the first 5, 6, 7, 8 rounds and how ADP is there, because that's going to move too. And I want to take some shots later at some of these backfields, and the Cowboys are a good one because they're a really, really high value backfield. So let me run down this team, and then we're going to get out of here. We're going to go over to the lab in the Spike Week Discord. I got to tell you, I just want to say, making it over an hour here, my allergies are going so absolutely bonkers. Even my wife she left to go to dinner with our cousin. Before she left, she was like, your eyes look like shit. Like, your eyes are so red. I've been wanting to scratch my eyes the whole time. So I just want you guys to know that I feel proud of myself for having done that. I also feel proud of this team. 2, 7, 8, 3. Out of the 104, we took Puka, Hampton, Olave, Burden, McLaurin, Marv. So 5 wide receivers in 6 rounds, with, of course, Hampton as a hero running back in round 2. Came back for Chuba Hubbard. Talked a little bit about Chuba earlier, why I really like him. Made sure, also talked about this with the quarterbacks, making sure if I have to do one thing specifically on DraftKings, do not leave a draft where you're mad at yourself about your quarterback room. What does that mean to you? Right? What quarterback rooms are you not mad about is in the eye of the beholder. But for me, I'm making sure I'm getting quarterback rooms that I feel really good about. So I just took Purdy and I just took Goff. I can't believe I wanted to get Christian Kirk and did get Christian Kirk. Wanted to get Kirk, Tesla as stacking options, but it didn't work out perfectly, but I'm okay with that. Josh Downs, Matthew Golden, 2 wide receivers in this range I really like. Got to come back for don't have any tight ends. This is a tight end window I really like. Took Mark Andrews and Juwan Johnson there. Came back for Emmanuel Wilson, the aforementioned Christian Kirk right after that. Jordan James, another 49er for a little 49ers team stack. We talked about team stacking on a recent episode. Kamani Vidal. So we talked about some buying of the backfield there with Vidal and Hampton. Terrence Ferguson may live to regret that pick, but if things shake out in this draft for Ferguson as well as Parkinson, I think these guys could be really big values at these costs, and they also could be useless. But he's going to be on the Rams, and he was a 2nd-round pick. We could do worse. And then Justice Hill and Malik Davis to close it out for 2-7-8-3 team that honestly I like. I'm a fan of this team. I was planning on posting this video pod tomorrow, but the drafters pre-draft tournament looks like it might overlay. So I think I'm going to draft that tomorrow at some time. I don't know when. I don't know, because I have to do a Roto-Grinders baseball show in the morning. Tomorrow we'll have some kind of show. Be on the lookout on this channel. If you hit subscribe, of course, you guys know you'll get notified when these videos and stuff get posted. But most importantly, Friday morning, back at 11 a.m. Eastern, breaking down round 1 of the NFL draft and looking ahead to day 2, round 2 and 3 on Friday night. What happened in round 1 that oh my God, this team took Ty Simpson, right? What we're going to break everything down from round 1, Friday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, and also look ahead to round 2 and round 3. And then on Saturday, special fun little Saturday show, going to follow the draft live. Noon Eastern is when day 3 of the NFL draft kicks off. And quite frankly, it's my favorite day. The shitty prospects that I fall in love with, but sometimes there's gold in day 3, especially the start of day 3. So we'll talk through everything that's happened in the first 2 days, talk about who's left on the board. And of course, as picks start to stream in on Saturday, we will talk about those as well. So that's the plan for the rest of the week. Be on the lookout for what's going on tomorrow. Hit like on your way out on this video and join us in the Discord, because we're going over to the lab in the Discord right now. Comes with your premium subscription that gets you all of our tools like the draft hacker you saw here today. Because best ball summer starts next week. Can't believe it, but it's here. I'll see you guys probably tomorrow. Cheers. Peace.
Woo! Those were some spicy takes. Want to stay up to date with all of the other spicy takes we're going to have over here at Spike Week? Why don't you press that subscribe button below? You turn notifications on, we draft a team, boom, you know about it. We have another spicy take, boom, you know about it. You can be there, you can draft with us. You want to stay up to date? That's how you do it. All right, we'll catch you later next time here at Spike Week.